they're spamming in caps because that guy's name is so long. And then he just says hi.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there? It is Friday afternoon, which means we're live in SketchUp. This is Aaron, but I'm just here to do some voiceover and introduction because today you guys are lucky enough to be spending Friday with Mr. Tyson Karchner, teacher, extraordinaire, instructor, professor of SketchUp. So Tyson decided today would be a good day to take a look at, celebrate the 40th anniversary of one of, I don't know, a lot of people's favorite movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark came out over 40 years ago, around now. Pretty awesome. Just a couple notes before we get started. We do have a couple things going on. If you have not already done it, come swing by 3dbasecamp.sketchup.com and learn about the Fireside Chat. It is an interactive live webinar experience. I'm just gonna sell it as an experience. But you can check that out this Wednesday for the next 7 weeks on Wednesdays at noon. So come check that out. But right now we're gonna hand it over to Tyson, and he's going to model for us. So take it away, Tyson.
Thank you, Aaron. Hey everybody, happy Friday. Very happy Friday. I hope everybody has some fun weekend plans. A friend told me recently that it was the 40th anniversary of Raiders, and I was like, that is so cool. And this, of course, is one of the memorable scenes from that movie. The map room, I believe, it's also referenced as the city of Tanis, which is a real city.
Tanis? Like from Borderlands?
Kinda. Everything goes back to Borderlands, right? It's all full circle, at least with us. But yeah, City of Tanis is a real city, and I don't know. A little bit I looked at it. Some people do speculate that perhaps the Ark of the Covenant was buried there, but in the Raiders it was. So.
Awesome. Hey, I should say I sold some people short. We do have more than just Tyson and myself in here. We got a room. We're all hanging out together here. So Jody and Nick are both in here with us again. So I didn't want to, first I don't want to surprise anybody to have a voice show if they weren't expecting, but also want to give them credit for spending their Friday with us.
I appreciate that, Aaron. I didn't feel like I was going to be able to talk until it was acknowledged that I existed.
That is proper. That's the way to do it. Is get introduced before you start saying things.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. We're live.
Well, Aaron, you've probably done some. So is this this is not your first, Nick, is it?
This is not my first. I've been here a couple times. I don't talk much.
You're old school. Okay. Well, Nick, as our, I'm not trying to get you on your nerves too much, but you're the youngin' of our group, and you have seen Raiders, or is this too old school for you?
I've seen a little bit of it, parts, when I used to, with my dad on the couch. Sometimes I'll pass by and he's watching it, but I am a little too young.
No,
you're never too young. You can be too young to watch the Crystal Skull. You don't need to watch that.
Okay, that'll be my homework for tonight.
To not watch that.
I'm not watching it right now.
Well, and then Nick, if you actually are watching it with your dad, don't be surprised. Now, fully watch it with your dad. That would be a great experience. Then at the end, there's a little scene where your dad's going to reach over and cover your eyes, and that's appropriate. It's a little gross.
Scary.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to look away. I'll keep that in mind.
I'm trying now to remember if I did cover my kids' eyes whenever, because my kids who are younger than Nick have seen this, but they probably don't remember it because they never do.
So I do want to throw that out in the chat. Did anybody see this in the theaters? Because I watched it, but I think it was on like a VCR rental when I saw it. So
I don't remember if I saw it in theaters.
I
I think my earliest
remember. What'd you say?
my earliest remembered movie was getting to go see Empire Strikes Back, like
Yeah.
on my birthday or something like that. Me and my mom.
Nice. I do remember watching. My uncle took my brother and I and our cousins to watch The Temple of Doom in the theater,
Hmm.
and man, spoiler alert! But when he pulls that guy's heart out, I was freaking out.
Sorry, Nick. That's a little spoiler for the second movie in the series.
That
Don't
was,
worry,
that
I
was
wasn't listening.
okay. Good.
What?
Good. Yeah, that was George Lucas has come back saying that he was in a dark place when he made that movie. I think it shows.
Well, now I'm curious exactly. That didn't seem that dark to me.
Well, I know he'd just gotten divorced or something, and
And so his heart was ripped out figuratively. So he's just like, I want Indiana Jones to feel the way I feel, something like that. Or I mean, the other guy. Wait, no, he ripped somebody else's heart.
yeah.
I thought,
Just some random guy.
was it? What I'm misremembering. Remembering, I thought he was married to the main romantic interest in that one, or something of that sort.
I don't remember. I just remember watching an interview with him talking about, there's a significantly different tone between the first movie and the second.
So,
He was
so
talking
Peggy,
about that.
by the way, since you did ask, Keggy does remember seeing it in the theaters.
All right, there we go.
And Barry said that they're filming the new Indiana Jones right next to him at the moment, which means
Are they? Can they see the
There's no-
screen? If Tyson waves. Hi, Harrison.
they're literally in the same room.
Right next to him.
Indy.
So would you say that that's an indie film?
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Out of the gate.
Who
Out
had
of the
8 minutes
Jody
into the
gates.
stream before he made that joke? We had a pool going.
It had to happen. Couldn't not happen. I'd be embarrassed if we went this whole show without it.
That's, we knew we could rely on you.
Just to be sure, I am creating a quick 2D figure of Indy here that we'll use both for scale and just for reference in our.
I feel like this should just be part of every future diorama-based model that we make. Is somebody should be
Indiana Jones?
the component at the beginning.
Oh,
well, maybe.
That makes more sense.
Like previously, it should have been Goober or Gomer.
That's true. That would have been fun.
This is also just sort of a little impromptu teaching people how to make their own 2D component. If you ever wanted to have your own 2D component, just do what Tyson does.
We haven't done that for a while, have we?
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
2D component, something or other.
Yeah, we haven't done one of those for. It's been a while.
So when is the actual? Do you know when the 40th anniversary was? Was it like was it a May movie?
I'm not sure. We'll have to look that up. It would be there'd be some irony and funny, I guess, if it actually wasn't, since I'm only working off of what another friend told me.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow. We could have just pulled a full-on internet right there and lied. I don't want to
heard it.
disillusion anybody, but sometimes internet stuff is not true.
I don't know what you're talking about.
so I see actual news sources, CNET, talking about this being the 40th birthday for Indiana Jones.
What day was that? A week ago.
I'm
Okay.
looking. I gotta read the
works.
article. Well, the article doesn't say. March 4th, 1995. I don't think that's it.
That would not make it the 40th.
That's a Disneyland ride. Is there still a Disneyland Indiana Jones ride?
Oh yeah,
Really?
and it's still quite popular, I believe. Those things they're not like exhibits at the local museum. They take a lot of work to get in there. Don't just turn them over. Indiana Jones saw yesterday. Flush this thing.
Do they still have Captain EO then?
Ooh. I don't
June
know
12th,
where he landed.
1981.
There we go.
So yeah, it was about a week ago. Or
So
a
what
week
is
and
it,
20 years
18th?
or 40 years. Yeah.
$40 years. Again, that sort of some of those scenes from the second movie must have stuck with me because I can't remember when I watched this for the first time or when I even watched The Last Crusade for the first time. I don't know.
But you remember
guys
the man, I don't know that I do. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh. Excellent use of the freehand tool there. A tool that is, well, probably go with never used.
And we'll point out that I've got it. It's the tablet that makes it half usable.
That is true.
Half usable.
That was smooth.
Yes.
That was smooth.
Let's see if we can.
I feel like we need Aaron to do some like frame by frame commentating on this. He grabs the pen tool. He moves it to the right.
For those people who are tuning in on the radio.
Yeah, we get a lot of those.
Yeah. That's interesting. So I would throw out a question and just say, like, maybe that's going back to what you were saying. What does everybody remember as their first, being as how movie theaters are opening up again now? This is what's got me thinking. What's the earliest movie you recall seeing in the theaters? No judgment. This is not to put anybody's age on display or anything like that. But I'm just curious because I'm trying to remember. I'm like, I don't truly, honestly remember exactly what it was. I don't know.
So I remember opening day for Return of the Jedi. That was in '83, but I think one of my fondest first movie memories is getting to go. I think I went by myself or with just a friend, and we got to go see Back to the Future.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
And
I think
also
I
Fox and the Hound, which made me cry.
Oh man,
That just means you have a soul.
was that a double play with Old Yeller or Where the Red Fern Grows?
Could have been. No, okay, but I'm sorry, I interrupted right as Nick was about to drop his
Yeah.
first movie, which it shouldn't be that tricky because it's only like 6 years ago.
Yeah, I'm only like 11. It's kind of weird. My first movie that I remember is The Dark Knight. Watching.
Oh, that's
I was like 8,
Oh,
and my
Yeah,
mom
man, it's-
brought me there.
that's pretty brutal for an 8-year-old.
Yeah, I remember it being. I mean, I thought it was cool, but
Oh yeah, because it was.
my mom was like, "I can't. This is my little kid."
It's funny because I think, like, I don't know if it's your brain protecting itself, but I think like when you're that young and you see stuff, like what you retain is not the same as what like an adult sitting next to you thinks the impression you're getting. Because I remember going back and watching some movies that I saw when I was young, and I'm like, I remember this part and this part and this part, and then I'm like, whoa, that was
Wait a
grim.
minute.
Like I don't remember that at all.
So I have expressed this before. Was like, so we have Stranger Things, which is it's all about '80s reminiscing anyway. But like the effects in that are I would say more scary than The Thing, which is probably one of the first scary movies that I watched. And it's just funny to me to think like this is a kids show, whereas whenever The Thing back whenever I watched it was just like, oh my goodness, this is horrifying. Although now when I look at it, it's still horrifying, but for different reasons. Special effects in The Thing were specials.
Special. Cool. Bambi. Peggy's first movie is Bambi. Actually, now that I think it probably had to be Disney movies for a lot of people, right?
Probably so.
Not Jody. Jody's always been hardcore. He's never seen a movie that wasn't rated R or worse.
That's right. It was back then. The Return of the Jedi was an R movie, as was Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's an interesting bit of trivia. Maybe this is totally not true, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but I had heard that PG-13, that rating, the first movie to receive that was the second Indiana Jones movie.
Really?
Because it back when it was released, they had PG and they had R, and this fell somewhere in between where it didn't really get everything that made it an R. But
I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but I just did a search for the first movie to be PG-13, and it actually was Tyson's favorite movie.
My very favorite?
Flashdance?
Yep. What's your favorite 80s movie that you'd love to go back to and you're so disappointed when they remade it?
Footloose?
Oh my gosh, dude, I don't know.
I hate to put you on the spot like that.
I know, man. I mean, give me at least something to work with here.
Patrick Swayze.
Oh, Willow.
No.
Whether that's what
Patrick
you were looking
Swayze,
for.
He wasn't
that's my favorite 80s
he wasn't
movie.
Oh no, Red Dawn. Jeez.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not my favorite movie, but you are so right. That was a terrible remake.
So did that maybe what I heard was that was like about the same time. When did Red Dawn come out compared to Temple of Doom?
They both came out the same year, 84.
Yeah, maybe it's just around that time.
Yeah.
Red Dawn was the first 13 movie? Huh.
According to History.com, I don't know why exactly.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, see, but then like on the same Google search result, the third one says Indiana Jones Temple of Doom created the PG-13 rating. So maybe when they're making Temple of Doom, they're like, we got to have something new. Let's do PG-13. And then they invented that. And then Red Dawn came out before it, maybe.
Yeah, it's possible that the MPAA rating was applied before release, which is what they do. So maybe Red Dawn released first, but yeah, that's interesting.
It appears to be a battle between the two. It's every other article is Red Dawn, Temple of Doom, Red Dawn, Temple of Doom.
Well, George Lucas said, just kidding.
Look at that jawline.
Right? Square that up, but I can't get this too close.
I certainly hope that all of this 2D componentification is not going to...
Come on.
It's not going to mess with your ability to make this amazing room.
That's why I didn't do it. I'm just avoiding the room.
Well, technically the room's a rectangle. That should not be that hard. It's the everything else in it.
Well, but he's going to carve all of the hieroglyphics, I thought.
Ooh, time to get cracking, buddy.
He's going to really take advantage of that freehand tool.
Well, I expect to see them in relief, too.
You got it.
You'll be relieved to see the results. No, sorry. I'll be quiet. I'll go back to my room.
Alright, that'll do for us. Wait a second. Except for this little tiny waist. I thought I made a copy. There it is.
So Tyson, you were gone
Yeah.
for 2.5 weeks to Arizona. Well, to hotter places in the U.S. Are you super tan now? I can't quite tell.
I am really tan, right up to, the typical tan lines.
Dad tan.
That's
It's not a
right.
farmer tan. It's
That's right.
Looking good. Looking good.
Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna work with that for now. We'll come back and one thing I want to do with this is make a custom. Since as we move around, sort of to me has an obvious pivot point, which is the point of the staff, and that way staff is always sort of planted, no matter where we look. So let's make him that.
You know, it's funny because there's a lot of people who do this now, but like at home in the garage in their shop, whatever, recreate props. And I gotta say, Indiana Jones was one of those things where I always wanted one of those medallions, the little gem in the middle. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's
The
always
Ankh?
been one of those things that would like, oh, that would be so cool to have.
Speaking of, Kegi pointed out that that staff does not have the medallion up top, which it needs to have for this particular scene.
True.
The focal point for the sun's ray.
True enough. Well, it so happens, let's see here, that not to the level of detail of the actual thing, but I did a quick, simplified version. So thank you, Brianna Martini from ArtStation, who I pulled this reference from. But this will, we've got our Eye of Ra to start
Well,
with.
so then also a thank you to Kegi for giving us perfect segue for you to jump over here and grab this thing.
Nice.
Thank you.
There's more polygons in this amulet than the entire 2D component, or more line segments.
All right, but
Still kind of feel like it's a little bit of a cheat, but I'm gonna let it go.
I like to think this isn't cheating so much as it's Julia Child's style. She just pulls the already prepared amulet of Ra out of the oven, so you don't have to watch the tedious part of making it.
So baking show modeling is okay.
That's too big, Tyson. Oh, okay, that's better. Yeah,
My
baking
show, Jody.
that's-
I'll make it as big as I want.
I think we should rename the 3D warehouse to Julia Child's oven or something like that. You just reach in and pull out a completed whatever.
That baking sheet underneath the little platform right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
There. Okay, for now, we're just gonna take this.
So do you have this all like set to scale, proper scale and everything?
Well, this one should be, but the room scale is we're gonna be doing a lot of guesswork. As with the whole rest of this is a ton of guesswork. There's not a lot of great references to work from. Just mostly pictures. But that's what we do.
It'll work.
Wait, do you have a flat version of this component laying on the model, and you have your other one that you stood up elsewhere?
I do.
Wow, that's some clever painting going on there.
It helps a lot when you're still tweaking this, and then sometimes you want to check your reference and be like, how's it look overall? So for example, let's come in here. I erased some of these lines, but we're going to draw them back. I'm going to erase out these edges. Not erase, hide them. Little, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we were still talking about movies for a little bit. I've got one question. Have you guys seen War Games?
Yes.
That's one of my all-time favorites.
All right. That is an excellent answer.
That was before he did Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
Yep. Yeah, if you look at him, he looks like he's about 12 in that movie.
I know, it's weird.
I'm trying to think
I think
what
that was
the
one
last.
the last what?
I was trying to think wonder what the last movie was I saw him in.
I saw him in a Netflix series called, I don't know, something about a zombie. It was a zombie series. Only got one season.
That's a shame.
It's interesting because he's a middle-aged man now. Well, he's not the 12-year-old that he was back then. So, Nick, what was the name of the computer from War Games?
Oh, it was his daughter's name.
No,
that was the password.
Yeah.
No, great. I don't
did
see
I-
the movie.
Did I ruin it? I can't remember.
I can't remember if it's got to be an acronym. Wasn't it the Whopper?
Yes, that's it. All
Is
the
it-
light up
terrible
buttons. The war operations. Oh, what was it? They only say it like twice in the movie.
They said it enough that it really stuck in my head. There's two things I know, and that's that he wants to play global thermonuclear war. That's the game.
That was the game, yeah. That looks like fun. You know what the weird part is though? Like I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you had home computers where you like look at a listing of directories and there's just a bunch of exes and you're like, oh, Frog Squash, that sounds like a fun game, or something like that's what it really was like. There was no trailer, there was no like, oh, let me look, how many players is this game? How nope, there was a name of an executable and that's how you found out what games you had on that computer.
That's right. And mostly it was Gorilla or whatever. He's throwing Gorilla throwing the banana.
That was also Frogger. Don't forget Frogger.
The 2 megabyte floppy disks.
Oh, good stuff.
1.44 really, or 1.2, I guess, depending on the disk. War Operation Plan Response. That's what the internet tells me. Oh yeah, and Kegi also found that out. So that's pretty good. I think you at least got the first two letters in your acronym.
I was close. 50%. It's a D.
Who was the female? And was that? Was there anybody? Was that Ali Sheedy? Nobody.
I honestly don't remember.
I don't know.
Ali Sheedy, and Dabney Coleman was the old sort of villain in so many things that I watched in the 80s. No, nobody. 9 to
Alas.
5. Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, is that the guy with the mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Who's the guy with the mustache? That was really.
Man, got a bunch of old stuff to go watch. So this week I pulled up Patrick Willems' YouTube, and it was new to me, but apparently he made it back in December. He was talking about how great Batman: the movie was, like the movie that was made based on the TV series from the 60s.
Anti-shark spray.
Oh, shark repellent. Yeah,
That's right. Right next to the electric eel and the whatever.
Squid and the whale.
Squid and whale. The most ferocious sea creatures
Yeah.
That was good stuff. That was.
So it's on YouTube, like completely free. So I watched over the past like 3 days. I've watched little bits. Finally finished it for lunch today.
You know what I thoroughly enjoyed Batman wise was in the Lego movie. There's that little montage where he flashes back to the different incarnations of Batman, and he has that Adam West clip of him like dancing
Yeah.
in the bat suit. Oh man, it's quality right there.
Well, that's similar to the short scene at the intro of in Spider Verse into the Spider Verse for Spider Man, where Peter Parker's dancing, and they're like, we don't talk about that.
Oh, good stuff.
Studio seen the Batman movie. He threw out the one of the best lines from it. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Great scene where he's running around with this big bomb. He like runs up and there's some nuns walking at him. He turns, runs the other way, and there's a mother pushing a child.
Right.
He turns, runs around a corner, and there's a marching band. Like everything is happening on the wharf at exactly this bomb time.
And I love the bomb he's carrying too, because
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it says bomb on it, but it's like, yeah, the black spear with the
It's
sparking fuse sticking out of the top.
It did not say bomb, and I'm completely confused as to why not, because everything else is labeled. Like when you're in the villain lair, there's like a shelf just for penguins, fish, and like everything is properly labeled. It makes me want to go out to my shop and like label everything to a ridiculous level of precision.
So what is this right here? We're working on, Tyson. What's the thought process breaking this thing down?
Well, there's a couple things that
What are you thinking?
I know that is entirely fair. This was the only. I'm sure there's others. This was one of the like original reference photos of actually building it, so I can see this guy standing, trying to get a reference of scale, right?
Mhm.
In fairness, and maybe you have some ideas, Aaron. I took this photo, and I also took some screenshots, say from the movie, like this,
Mm-hmm.
and tried to use match photo.
Mm.
But match photo doesn't play nice with images that are manipulated, and which means that so many things that you pull from the web, you have no idea how close they are.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that you can still find some useful stuff using match photo, even from a manipulated image that's not going to be fully accurate. But I was really struggling to get either of these images like some clean geometry out of it. So
Mhm.
I'm just going to make it up and say that, let's say that the top of this is, like, I don't know, 11, 12 feet to where it starts curving. One side is nicely, if we look back here, it's nice and flat. That's all easy. But this other side is domed. And then it has all these bricks, and we probably aren't going to have time to throw a bunch of bricks in there. So I am just creating the kind of form overall, and then I'm going to dome it over here. But I'm adding in a little bit of detail for when I use Follow Me, so that I have some line indentations for the bricks, or the big stones, I should say. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
All right. I like that. I think that's going to work just fine.
All right, Aaron says it. I have every
Signed off.
confidence.
Good luck. Good luck with that sign off is what I was saying. Not yeah. It'll be good. You got it.
So are you going to? It's as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, you're basically making a virtual diorama of a room that has a physical diorama in it. It's very meta.
It's turtles all the way down, buddy.
Do you think that that's really how the Egyptians went about designing things? They always made like a scale replica uh, models of the things that they're going to work on.
It's called a map room. This is just early Google Maps right here.
All right, all right.
It's a little less portable. Can't take this in your car so good.
It would be kind of cool if he made a little scale replica of a DeLorean and had it race down Main Street, timing the lightning strike. Oh, he's actually working on the lightning strike right there. Oh,
going back to our very, 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 very first live modeling session, we actually polled everybody and said, "What do you want to see us model?" And we had, let's see, I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but there was the Millennium Falcon, which we ended up kind of doing. We had the time machine, maybe the Great Hall from Harry Potter. I think there was one other thing. I feel like we pulled you guys with 4 things, but yeah, it's funny because that's one of them that was on there that we never revisited. We did end up doing the Great Hall, and we ended up. So we spent way too long trying to make the Millennium Falcon.
It reminds me of these plans we were having for base camp, but I don't know if that's a secret to talk about.
Oh, we can talk about base camp. It's out there. It's in the wild.
The base camp that never happened?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe that's still kind of secret because we're still trying to do it all.
Yeah. Okay, you guys just have to come to Vancouver whenever that happens.
It's going to be awesome. Jody's going to do stuff.
Probably something.
I bet.
Okay, I hope this will work. So you can't hardly see them, but there's tiny little indentations at various points around this guy. It should give us something, and then if we take these two, we should be able to create our room.
I look forward to that happening. We're 40 minutes in.
Nothing like more than a good should.
Something like that. That starts off. But, hold on. What is this 40 minutes in, Jody? I mean, where did you expect us to be?
I don't know. So this room didn't get filled up with snakes, right?
Sorry,
No.
Nick.
No, I think it's
That was a different room he was in. Okay.
Yeah. That was the actual arc room.
No. Oh yeah. I'm thinking the actual arc room is as the room where they open the arc, and there's no snakes there, just wax. Melting wax everywhere.
The worst part about all this is, since I'm a film major, we have periods where we're supposed to just watch a movie, like every single week, and I'm pretty sure this was one of the ones on my docket.
Oh, sorry. Are we ruining it for you?
No.
No, I think he's admitting he didn't do his homework. Is what I just heard.
Oh, I gotcha. Nice. You just read the cliff notes.
Just have Aaron do my homework.
I'll fill you in on it. No problem.
I it's almost no fun, no fair. I was when we decided this, Aaron. It was only a week or so ago, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back and rewatch Raiders, but I only ever took time to go back and watch this scene, not the whole movie. So that's
There was
still
so
on the
much
to-do.
more to that movie than this scene, though, Tyson.
You sure? Because this is really the one that stuck out to me. Not the bar fight with the burnt hand or the snakes. Oh, or the propeller to the face. Oh man, there's so many good scenes. I'm sorry. I know everything I just explained is like exciting was like somebody getting physically deformed due to violence. That's not really who I am.
So that was the younger, more violent Aaron that watched that movie, and so that's the stuff that stuck out.
Blood, blood, blood.
I do have a fun movie fact about this movie, though, if you want a fun movie fact.
Yes, we do.
I love fun movie facts.
All the fun movie facts.
So the cars that drive around, if you listen when they're driving, they have engine noises along with animal sounds. So they have like lions growling and a bunch of animal sounds to get that like environment. I watched a video on it. It's really, really quite interesting. But when you know it and you watch it, you're like, oh, that is just a lion.
That's all you hear now is a little bit of engine, but mostly a lion roaring.
Yep.
That is
Interesting. Wait, so is it different animals? Like, is the animal selected supposed to have something to do with the scene, or is it literally just they tried to find some sort of organic sound to add to the engine to make the whole thing feel more?
Yeah, I think they just did it like, I know there's different animals, but they tried to do like big animals to show like, I guess, power. I don't know. It is pretty cool though. It adds a lot to the scene. It's kind of cool.
Well, now I'm gonna drop out now, guys. I'll catch you later. I gotta go watch this. Or maybe I'll just
Sure to
start
report
adding
back.
animal sounds to my whenever I drive.
Well, can some of you start like
Those are gonna replace your noises that you do now.
Exactly. So I remember when electric cars were first coming out. I don't remember who it was that had the first one. Somebody had like, before there was a Tesla or someone else, and they had an electric car, and it was so quiet that it was causing problems like in their testing, and so they actually added the ability to, or they set it up so you can pick the sound your car makes. And so now I want to get an electric car and have its engine sound be a lion.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Tesla added an option where you can put a USB drive in and then change your horn sound to any sound.
Nice. And that's the way it should be. If you're driving a computer, you should be able to do all that stuff.
That is faultless logic.
I don't need to play Minecraft on my in-screen display, but I can watch Indiana Jones. That'll be it.
That's the end.
That's the end of the story.
Sounds good. I like it. I like the story.
Right.
What's going on, Tyson? What's going on? I don't understand.
If you look at this, when he drops into the room, there's these series of steps radiating out from, like I say, that the entrance is this big dome sort of circle, and then you have all these places that could potentially hold the staff. He's got to figure out which hole he puts the staff in. The staff has to be exactly the right height. If you remember in the movie, that's why the Nazis are digging in the wrong place, because
The
guy
back
he
of
had,
the
he only had partial information. So I'm just creating this series of steps in this area.
That's right. That goes back to the burnt hand, because they created the staff based off the front of the talisman, which was what was burnt into that little weirdo little Nazi guy's hand. And the back of the talisman says, "Take this much off the staff."
So the talisman means more than just being at the top of the staff.
It's yeah, and it's a very important lesson on taking things more than just face value. You have to take the back end into consideration also.
All right, so face and butt value.
That's the one.
Life lessons from Raiders.
That's right. Man, can't believe we're giving all this away for free. Just so much
That's right.
information. So
So
much
much
information to be
knowledge.
had.
I just feel blessed to be here. It's an honor to be here, really.
You're right.
I don't know if there's a scene that shows exactly how this works, but we're gonna go with this.
So I'm curious now about this new Indiana. I knew it was being made, and I'm trying to remember, like, isn't this one going to somehow be passing the torch to some new, not
not Shia
Shia
LaBeouf.
LaBeouf? Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Who can honestly though, like, not to dunk on anybody, who can you pass the torch to? Are they going to try, like, if they were going to try to reboot it or something, but who could take up the mantle in your mind? Who's
So Disney, I think Disney owns this now, and I think they're actually going to reboot it where Indiana, the dog, is actually the protagonist.
The dog's
I do
long
not
dead,
think that
right?
is real. We need the dog, Indiana. I had heard, it was a while ago.
One named after the dog.
That's the one. I had heard a while back that they were, Chris Pratt was talking about it. Or he was the name that they were talking about.
So right now on IMDb, the only names that really stand out are Harrison Ford, Mads Mikkelsen. I'm gonna bet you he's the villain.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
He does a good bad guy.
Yeah, he seems to be all right with it. There's no Chris Pratt.
Oh no, I'm not saying that's happening now. That was to Tyson's point of who could be the one, and I was just saying there was a point where they were talking about Chris Pratt being the new Indiana Jones, but.
Well,
Does
so if
that
they
settle
have,
with you personally,
I could see it. I mean, he did. I mean, is Star-Lord much more than a space Indiana Jones? Really?
That's fair.
well, but Indiana Jones is educated. I mean, he is an actual professor, and Star-Lord, I don't think even went to middle school or anything beyond that.
Well, he did
Everything
get
he
kidnapped
learned-
by aliens. It's not his fault.
I'm just saying there are some differences there.
Sorry,
School
didn't mean to
of
get
Hard
defensive.
Knocks, buddy.
Jeez. Whew.
Touched a point there. I apologize.
So Kegi said that Indiana was named after. So not only was he the dog, it was the dog's name in the movie, but apparently Lucas had a Malamute named Indiana. The dog, and that dog was also supposedly the inspiration for Chewbacca. Kegi could be making stuff up. He might.
I
But
just
this
assume
sounds
anything you guys put in
plausible.
the chat is 100% true. I don't really. I'm not a big fan of fact checking. Get most of my political updates from Facebook.
That's the place to go.
Yeah, it's easy. It's just easier that way.
So there's no plot information about the next Indiana. It didn't even have a name, but it's supposed to be out next year.
Ooh, that's secretive.
I always expect stuff
Okay.
to be out.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting because, Indiana Jones is a fairly physical guy, and there's not dissing, but Harrison Ford's getting. He moves a little bit crunchy, so
He moves with the vigor of an 80-year-old, probably a 70-something-year-old man, even though he's in his 80s, right?
he's always had like a unique run. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but he kind of sticks his chest way out when he runs. So that's always been a thing, but I'm like I said, he's had an awesome full career as a actor, and good for him. Action movies, some of my favorites, but yeah, he's not. I don't see him taking any more refrigerator rides away from bomb sites.
that was
Probably for
that
the best.
was so,
That's a spoiler, Nick, from the Crystal Skull. You don't need to watch that movie. Just know that if you're ever at risk of a nuclear bomb, climb into a refrigerator. You should be fine.
It may throw you halfway across the state, but you'll roll out and dust your hat off, and you'll be good.
Okay. Survivability like 99.9%.
Yeah.
If you're Indiana Jones.
You're not even having to worry about like banged up shoulders or any kind of wonkiness being thrown around. It's just you can get up and run a mile.
Just a dusty hat. I mean, that's a majority of his injuries. Actually, it was kind of funny because that's one of the things I remember about Raiders of the Lost Ark is he gets just beaten, and there's that scene where they're in the ship and he's taking his shirt off, and it just looks painful to watch him. Like, but that was the last injury. He really, everything else after that, he was okay.
This image, again, when I was looking at the references, I'm not sure how accurate this is. This is supposed to be something that's like a background sketch from Belog, the villain archaeologist, and so potentially somewhat to scale. We're just gonna go with it, or at least something similar to this. We gotta have something to reference, and we'll make it, scientifically.
Ish
not that
is the
big.
term you're looking for.
Yeah, ish. That is exactly ish. Right.
That's right. That's right.
Let's trace some of this.
Since we don't have Matt here, I think Jody, do you have some sound effects you want to make?
Oh goodness, golly! It's funny actually. So Lawrence pointed out that the Foley artist is the guy that makes all the noises, and that's what we need. Is we just need a straight up Foley guy that I don't. Gosh, I should have prepared, knowing that Matt wasn't going to be here. I think that as the intern, Nick, that's actually.
Oh, that's my job. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be prepared next time. Or I can just make some. I'll go grab some celery, and we'll make a fake bone cracking sound.
There you go. We can do
like
a
it.
nice
I like
fight
it.
scene with that.
Grab a head of lettuce to punch.
That was always one of the funnest scenes in Annie, which is a completely different movie than what the genres we're talking about here. But
That's kind of a
remember
jump, yeah. That's fresh.
the Annie movies, the Annie movie from the 80s. There's a scene where Annie goes on the radio with Daddy Warbucks to try and find her parents. And the whole time everybody's talking, they've got their Foley guy, and he like literally has a door that he goes and opens and closes, and he has just a hardwood floor to walk across, and I don't know. It's just fun to watch him making all the sound effects to like make it appear that there's an actual physical interaction happening, not just everybody calling in from home via Zoom.
Yeah, some of the work those guys do are crazy. I know Quiet Place, they did some really cool Foley work with just random objects to make the sounds of like I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But make the sounds of the, like, what do they call them? The monsters?
The monsters.
The quiet places?
Yeah.
The quiet people?
That's what they're named after, right?
It seems like every time there's one visible, then they go shh. So I think that's what they're just called. Shh.
What is it? Shh. Oh.
Apparently, in the sequel, you maybe get some idea what they're supposed to be. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
I saw it.
The quieter
It was-
place.
It was actually the first movie I've seen in, what was it, a year and a half? I don't know. But it was good. It was a good movie. I'm
See,
glad
that's
I
what
went.
we can. Now that's what we can do is we can say, "What's your first movie you see post COVID?"
That's right. I'd imagine we all remember a little better, so
Yeah. Some people probably isn't anything yet. Mine was Scott Pilgrim because it was a brief 2-week window where that was I only had 2 weeks to see it, so I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna go get sick."
you had to go.
I had to go. I couldn't
Sure.
not.
That's right.
So Lawrence said that Harrison was seen. He's been seen around town, like with about 8 miles from him, having dinner. So I guess wherever Lawrence and Philip are, uh, there are lots of Ford sightings, Harrison Ford sightings.
Yeah, I didn't like how quick we all of a sudden went to first name basis with him. I was
I didn't know what to call him.
Mr. Ford.
Yeah, but you might confuse that with the inventor of the car, the Ford car, not the car. Someone else invented the car.
Yeah, Mr. Carr.
That's right. Harrison Carr.
Gosh, again, so much good information on the show. Suck it, PBS. Look what we got going on here. But yeah, actually, so I'm interested. So obviously, I mean, we spend a lot of time on this show talking about entertainment and like, things like that, like movies. What have you seen for movies? So I'm curious, how many people have gone out and had seen a movie now? Has anybody else gotten out since things started reopening? I know some places, and this is not to rub anything in. I know because I do know some places have not opened up that much. So it's not a shot if you're someplace where you don't have an opportunity yet. But I'm just wondering if anybody's gotten out and seen anything yet.
Colorado has opened up. Just about any place I go, unless there's a doctor working there, seems to not require a mask now.
Yeah, I've noticed that if it is any kind of healthcare, you can't do the no mask thing.
It was interesting. Let's say my family just took a kind of drive. So we drove through Utah, then California, then Arizona, and it was a little bit. And we stayed through Vegas, and it was interesting. Yeah, Utah sort of medium level, Colorado medium level. That was a couple weeks ago, and then you get to California, they're still sort of at a high mask level. Arizona, very low. But I gotta imagine some other countries have
So I haven't heard anything recently about India. Are they bouncing back? They were having a rough go a month ago, and I don't know. I haven't heard anything recently.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It did sound like it was pretty tough though.
I'll wait with bated breath. I know we have a couple people in chat that are in India, so they can tell me. Have you guys heard about this movie, Masters of the Air?
I have not.
No.
Okay. The studio mentioned that it's filming somewhere in the UK, and then I asked what it is, and then Keggy said it's about the U.S. 8th Air Forces during World War II.
Ooh.
But I don't know if it's like a blockbuster movie with a big name star or just a nice historical piece. It's not the same as Masters of the Universe. I looked it up.
Mm-hmm. No, that's what I'm looking to.
That's getting another animated reboot?
Yep,
What?
Kevin
No,
Smith.
I'm
Sorry, we're talking He-Man right now.
yeah. Confused me, but now I'm back.
Okay.
Okay, so Tom Hanks is in Masters of the Air. Although when I looked it up, it shows there being a drama of the same name that came out last year, starring nobody I know. Now I gotta look it up. Speaking of air battles, though, is Top Gun coming out this year?
Yeah, I think it has a release date set now. So I think they're showing trailers.
Trailers? Wait. Oh yeah. No, I think I have to. Maybe it was just a teaser. I don't know, man.
Turns out Maverick's still Bit of a maverick,
Yeah.
you guys.
What?
What?
He didn't
Yeah.
settle down with age?
No, he's like a fine wine. He's got maverick ear.
Oh, Maverick ear. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't quite land.
Wah 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 wah.
He's
That's
at
the
his
best sound effect I
maverickiest. Thanks, Foley. That's your new nickname.
have.
Nick Foley?
There you go. Wait, isn't he
Isn't
a
that
real
a person?
actor?
Isn't that a real person?
Yeah, I think
I think
that
it's a real
is.
person.
It sounds like a real person.
I don't know who this guy is. Oh, that's Mick. That does me no good. What do people do whenever there wasn't an internet to immediately go and just randomly do Google searches whenever you're curious about a thing?
Study.
You just had to be curious.
That's what libraries
Well,
are for and stuff.
Do you remember Encyclopedia Britannica, Jody?
So we had the World Book, but I was getting ready to say was, yeah, as a child, I used to regularly just pull that down, just pick a letter and pull it down and just start reading stuff out of it.
Oh, you nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you, independent minded.
That's what Wikipedia used to be, Nick. When you were still dead, there was the only way to get information was to read it on paper.
Couldn't imagine.
That's a line my wife would always use with her sister, her younger sister. You know, you were still dead. She'd talk about stuff before she was born.
That's a fairly grim way to view that.
Well, I guess if you think of life as binary, you're either alive or you're dead, then
That's true.
before you were alive. Otherwise, you have to get like existential.
That's nice though. You brought Carrie on the show. So,
Yeah.
Shout out to Carrie.
Rest in peace, Carrie.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
My wife's little sister died 10 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
So me making jokes about her before she was, or when she was still dead, it feels a little bit bad, and I wanted to change the subject now.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's got really heavy in here, man.
Tyson, someone asked about the orange thing under your tablet.
Okay.
Now I'm curious.
This is so technical.
Oh, that's right. That thing.
I like my tablet elevated just a little bit. This just happens to be a hard drive that's got nice grippy, but it's named Trogdor, so appropriately.
I certainly hope that it does not burninate your tablet.
That's a good point. I have had a lacy drive, not only one, so I don't want to throw them entirely under the bus, that burninated from the inside, and I lost all my stuff. So
Nice. Yeah, you got to be careful with nicknames. Like we just got this camper, this vintage camper, and we decided we're gonna name it Delilah. And I'm like, oh, cool. We'll call my truck Samson. And then I was like, wait a minute, didn't Samson? Wasn't he ultimately? Wasn't Delilah his downfall?
Delilah was not cool to Samson. That was,
Oh man.
I remember that story. That didn't work out well.
Yeah. So yeah, you gotta be careful with those. Be careful with those auspicious nicknames, Tyson.
good point. Good point. Did you still speaking of Trogdor though, did you get on the Kickstarter for that game? Did you do that? Did that game ever launch?
Yeah, no, it's upstairs. We've played it many times.
How is it?
It's fun. It's I don't know. I have this problem. I don't know if you run into this with your kids, but my kids want to play games the first time, and then there's like, and then they don't want to play games anymore. And I'm just like, so I have this gigantic shelf, several shelves of games. We've only played a few times. Settlers of Catan. Apparently, that brings out the worst, at least in my in-laws.
That's a tricky one right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's no It's no Monopoly, but you can start trying to get a little bit too.
I used to play with my cousins, and we kind of stopped because uh, it got personal, and then some people would lobby for trade embargoes, and it got crazy. So we had to stop.
Well, and if you happen to have any clout outside of the game, you can start using that as a power play. Oh, you're gonna do that? Well, how about you are making your own dinner for the next week?
Ooh,
And all of a
that's
sudden,
rough.
kids are just like, sorry, Dad, Mom's got this one.
Yeah. So how are you getting over to your friend's house tomorrow night? Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, let's talk selling me some land.
My favorite game that we picked up that was, oh, dadgummit. One sec.
He's gonna go get the game.
I thought it was
Interesting
just
how
a
we just went from how do we get to games?
Trogdor.
Trogdor.
That's right.
Everdell is the game that I actually can get at least my son to replay with me. So that's good.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
Um,
that's great.
So I have a 3D printer at home, a resin 3D printer. So, print a lot of little things, and there's lots of people and lots of companies who actually sell STLs for like gaming, like minis, which I think it's a cool idea, and some of the models are really impressive. But you can buy them all pre-supported, ready to print, which I think is really cool. But fact is, like, I don't think I know anybody who would actually ever play the game. So I always thought it was a fun thing to try out and get into, and print some stuff in 3D and maybe even paint it. But it would just go sit on a shelf somewhere.
So it's funny that you mentioned that because Trogdor, we were mentioning just literally moments ago, whenever I got that, I did also get the STLs. Like they sent me the information for the STLs. So I do have the STLs to print. It's because it comes with sort of these thick 2D components for all the things, and so I've got STLs to print out like 3D-ified, like something that's a little more cool looking, like rather than just a cutout of Trogdor. It's an actual 3-dimensional Trogdor.
That scares me a little bit because Trogdor is very 2D.
Well, the main thing is it's
consummate
got to have a
shading.
big arm. No, consummate bees.
That's right. Sorry. Consummate bees. It's chiaroscuro shading or something like that.
Sure. So Nick, there used to be, before there was YouTube, there was something
We're
called
so
Flash.
condescending.
Oh.
So whenever I first started working at SketchUp, Tyson and I, one of the things we would do was when we were not working, we would be going to homestarrunner.com and watching these Flash videos of this character, Strongbad, who was a very like cheesily drawn, very low poly, low detailed Mexican wrestler, for lack of a better description. And he would just answer emails from people calling in. And he had some case where I don't even know where Trogdor came from. I think someone called in and asked him how to draw a dragon. And so then he started drawing this dragon super low. If you look up Trogdor, though, spelled just like it sounds, you can see that Trogdor is pretty hokey.
I'll look it up. I didn't know there was a time before YouTube.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
There wasn't a time
When it's
worth
weird.
living.
Yeah. If you're bored, you would
2000
go do stuff instead of YouTubing. It's odd time.
It was brutal. Brutal.
Now I've gotta find some years here. 2003-ish is it looks like when they started making those.
I did those were some of my favorite ever, like pieces of internet content. Is Homestar Runner.
Oh, this is super cool.
Yeah, it's all on. I mean, all these things are on YouTube now, so they didn't cease to exist once YouTube. So if you consume them now, you do it that way. Since nowadays you can't even have Flash on your computer, right? Like nothing runs the Flash plugins anymore.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they stopped updating Flash Player a couple years ago.
I clicked something recently, and like a thing came up said Flash is no longer supported, or something like that. Yeah, that's become a thing now. It's real.
Okay, so you guys that have followed Homestar Runner, you knew the brothers Chaps being the guys that were associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Chapman is one of them, and he has worked on Gravity Falls and more recently the Owl House. Which have you guys watched? Have you watched the Owl House yet?
Yes.
No.
Very enjoyable.
Okay. Yeah. Good stuff. Both of those are good stuffs. And they're both on The Plus.
The Plus.
Oh. There we go.
I feel like one day we should do a model off Tyson versus Aaron.
It has been commented upon.
I feel like that'd be interesting.
I feel like for me it would be humiliating. Butt kicked.
I don't know.
All that matters to me is that I'm not involved in that, because whenever I watch them model, I realize that I don't really model. I just sort of move a cursor around.
Well, the question with the model off, the thing I think would be, I'd probably weigh in, Aaron. As interesting as anything is less of a model off and more of just a similar model challenge, and then you see what the because the level of detail and how far you take it always depends on, well, what exactly are you modeling to. So if there's an exact model that you're trying to recreate, then yeah, we could have like a time contest. But otherwise, it's mostly interesting to be like, what are the different approaches to the same challenge?
Yeah, I've been playing with just that idea of, I don't know how it would work. It would have to be done a little bit, blindfold kind of thing, where maybe we do an hour each, where we both pick the same thing, something that could be done in an hour or so, and then both take 1 hour of the live stream and model that thing. Could be kind of fun. Maybe once we're back in the office, we can coordinate something like that a little better.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool just to see workflows, different workflows between you guys.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So Lawrence pointed out that Tyson would lose in the chattering department.
Tyson focus is better. I will give him that. So that's putting a positive spin on what he's saying. There may be 1 or 2 times you guys can recall that I started talking and forgot what I was actually supposed to be doing. So that does happen.
Right. So Tyson forgets to talk because he's modeling. Aaron forgets to model because he's talking.
All true. Yes.
So betwixt the two of us, we lick the platter.
That's right. I gotta say, considering like where we were 20 minutes ago, like this has been a big step forward.
I find this happens a lot, right? Where there's a snowball moment where all of a sudden it stops looking like rough shapes to all of a sudden looking like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting something.
Well, there was a big transition too with that setting up, making the 2D Indiana Jones, which now that you've done it, like, yeah, of course, it's perfect. And so then the extra shell of the building came together pretty quick too. That was a nice move.
Thanks.
this is one of the things that I always neglect whenever I'm working on a project is like I'm working on it. Doesn't really, nothing seems to be happening. It's kind of boring. It's kind of still looks like a poo. And so then I start to get disheartened. And if I just worked for 15 more minutes, then all of a sudden it would have turned into, it would have found its moment and would just shown
You quit too early.
quit too early. Or maybe I just realized 5 minutes later that, oh, hey, it's a good thing I didn't stop. Kegi has a good sort of a variant on the head-to-head modeling, is just have it to where you tag team, like one of you models for a while or models halfway, and then you hand it over to the other guy.
Boy, I will have a lot of peripherals on that computer.
The variation of that I think would be interesting, we've talked about this a little bit, maybe we'll do it sometime, is Aaron's done a few models where he has built his own or taken somebody else's greeblies and then assembled them. And I think if we spent an hour and a half building greeblies and then took the last 30-40 minutes or something, swapped them and said, okay, now create whatever, a hallway, a robot, a spaceship, whatever, with the greeblies that the other person created, could be fun.
That could be fun. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of options like that, and this is the kind of stuff that as you guys have ideas, let us know about them, because we're in the home stretch. We three of us. Fortunately, Nick was not able to come with, but Jody, Tyson, and I actually got to go spend some time in our office building yesterday. So we got to, see where the studio will be, walk around, see some cool stuff, and it's not too far till we're going to actually be able to, up the production opportunity. Say that. So, thinking ahead to some ideas.
Yeah.
Good idea. Jody, you're going to have to make the call because you've been on the outside of both of these. But if there's a point at which Tyson is modeling a video card, you just need to make the call.
So can I have like a kill switch, like maybe just like one of those big, just like the big, those big red buttons that you can just slap it, and I can just smack that thing and it just kills all of Tyson's feeds.
Yeah. So
or Aaron's feeds. If all of a sudden we're modeling the Notre Dame or a Cobra.
Hey, Notre Dame was fine. I didn't save. That was a problem on that one.
Okay.
I think if sorry, just if ever there was the contest, it's where behind the scenes, it would be me coming out and be like, I'm going to tackle that Cobra Aaron couldn't do.
That's what you do.
That'd be it.
I'm not, but I'm not suggesting that's actually going to happen. But
well, yeah, and I would rather see you come out and try and do the Cobra than you come out and say, I can make a video card in a much more entertaining fashion than Aaron, because you know what, you can't.
I'll pull rank on that. That's not making it on the air. Nope.
Nobody can.
Nope.
Make that.
Not out of pride, just to save the world from it. That's all.
Yeah. Although every time we mention Cobra, Kegi, like a little PTSD kicks in, so I feel bad even just saying it.
Oh no, he's yelling right now. So one of the things that Nick is helping us with is, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but he's going to help organize our video backlog in YouTube. So you follow us on YouTube, know that we have not 1,000, but pretty close to 1,000 videos on YouTube. So one of Nick's things is to help get that organized. We have some old stuff, that kind of thing. But he's watching through a lot of those videos, and I should here publicly say, when you get to the modeling a video card live stream, just skip it. Don't worry about it.
I'll make sure to pin it. I'll set it as the YouTube video right on the front.
Oh man.
Yeah,
we learned that despite how cool looking circuit boards can be, they look awesome, but man, they are just redundant copying and pasting stupid little widgets over and over and over again, and it does not make for entertaining anything.
So here is my silver lining
Alright.
to that.
Is this about
It was
watching me
easy.
sweat? Because
No, it was easy to have a lot of banter in that one
that's true.
because there's really no need. There's no like, oh, just a minute, I gotta focus while I'm trying to figure this out. It's literally just, okay, I'll copy this and I'll paste this here.
I feel like there was a lot of apologies during the banter as well. Like, I'm so sorry, guys. We'll just go a little bit longer. We'll stop soon. I'm sorry. Like, I feel like I said that a lot.
I feel like it's worth people watching it just to understand.
Watch us get
if
some.
you're gonna watch it, if you're gonna go watch it, then set your playback speed to like 1.5
Minimum.
minimum.
I wish I don't know, Aaron. Can you and I get like just a few vetoes a year? Because that last model, no, whichever one where I went down and modeled that art center in Mexico, I want to veto. I want that gone from the history books. I gone. That was so terrible, so painful.
No, see, people always say that they learned so much by watching us flail. So
So they learned a lot in that one.
That is so appropriate.
I'm just teasing.
I know, but it's true.
Yeah.
uh,
I feel like these are opportunities for growth for you, Tyson. These are a chance for you to become better at making up stories while your modeling is not as exciting as your stories.
Making up better stories? What?
Yeah, just make up good. I don't know, Aaron. What would you do to keep people from getting bored whenever the project you're modeling turns out to be more boring than you thought? Oh, I apologize. We already covered that.
yeah, well, I genuinely feel bad for people sometimes when they watch me, but I generally feel like there's usually experience involved with either the modeling process or just the model itself, right? So as you're doing something, you're like, oh, I modeled something like this once before, and here's some information or thoughts about when I first saw this or tool or something like that. Usually there's something like that you can jump into.
I feel like maybe Aaron also like wears distracting shirts or has a distracting thing he uses with his left hand whenever he's modeling, just so he gets other things to talk about. Like I feel like
when you said distracted thing, Jody, I thought that was self-referential.
I was getting ready to say that we could talk about Tyson's homeless person glove that he wears whenever he uses this tablet, but I see that he took it off before the show. Didn't let anybody see his fingerless, his sort of mangy fingerless glove that he wears.
Here, Jody. Since you're a friend, here's my ratty glove.
Okay.
It helps things
So I know
glide
that it's
smoother, but in this warm temperatures we're having, that's a little.
Yeah.
All right, what?
But no, that's what I was going to say. Is what is the main benefit you get out of it? And so that's it. Is your hand? It just helps your hand slide around better on that.
Yep.
That surface.
Does your tablet have touch support, Joe or Tyson?
It does. I don't use it, or it has some limited amount of touch support.
I just want to. I know sometimes people use it so it doesn't pick up their flesh touching.
Well, yeah, that's what I
model.
thought. That's why I presumed you had it. Actually, was what is it? Touch cancellation or something? Palm rejection.
Oh, palm rejection.
No, it just helps it.
Lawrence said to smell the glove, and now I'm realizing that there's a whole different level of that glove that I'm now not interested in.
Listen,
Lawrence,
Smell the glove.
it's not that bad. I don't,
That's good.
No, Smell the Glove is Spinal Tap.
Oh, is it? Okay, nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's their
oh my gosh.
their album they release
That was the name of the album?
that gets
Oh,
censored. Yeah, and they end up releasing the
there's
all black album instead.
there's so much about that movie that I do not remember. And I wasn't even I don't know how old I was, but I didn't like watch it when it was new, so it's not like it's been 30 years between me and seeing that. But I can't think of when I saw it.
That's
The main
just a funny movie.
the main thing that gets me is that Christopher Guest has done so many things similar to that, mockumentaries, but he's also the six-fingered man. So you're just like, what can this guy not do?
Probably make a solid drama. I'm guessing that that's just not in his skill set, but it's not a challenge. I don't want him to do that. I like the
It
funny
could be.
stuff.
I think he's also married to. I think he's a lord or a duke, and also he's married to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Hmm.
I know way too much trivia about Christopher Guest for some reason. I don't know why.
That's so weird. Yeah, weird. But yeah, that was kind of one of the first, at least one of the first that I know, mockumentary style. Rob Reiner too was the
Yeah.
fake director.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. That's kind of a who's who movie from what year was that? 84. 84. I think we've talked about this before. There's like kind of all the best movies came out in 84.
I do believe that was a topic of conversation.
At some point.
Yeah, probably during a video card rendering or something like that. What else are you gonna do?
So,
It's an opportunity to distract people from the Cobra. Hey, anybody remember 1984?
The book or the movie? Or wait, the movie.
See, it worked.
I just feel like I don't want to say the C word because poor
Right.
Keggy, he's already endured enough today.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Man, it's no. So I'm looking at up 1984 movies. Whenever I look at basically from like 83 to 86 or something like that, it seems like every movie that I watched before I was a 40-year-old was in that period. I realize it's not true, but it feels like it.
Prolific.
Yes. Hmm. Wow.
Are you just like wowing the stuff that you're reading and not telling us about? Like, ooh, that one too. That's great. Ooh, wow.
Well, so okay, so Romancing the Stone, Gremlins, where was it at? Neverending Story, Dune, like all these things are 1984. Footloose, Purple Rain. How are these all the same year? I remember in high school, like towards the end of the year, we like my physics class, we didn't have anything else we're doing. Like we finished all our stuff, so we were watching. So we got to watch Buckaroo Banzai and the Fifth Dimension in our science class, which is awesome. It's a great movie that only got
Yep.
68% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That didn't quite have the staying power of, say, any of the other movies you mentioned.
Yeah,
I
but it's
just
still was
listened
still
to
good.
a podcast about that movie. I haven't seen it, but yeah, it was a podcast more on like not necessarily cult classics where everybody sort of like a Clue or a Princess Bride, but more of a just like your personal, the movies you love that are not so great.
It just makes me think of your family movie, Tyson. It cracks me up
I know.
every time. Every time I consider it, cracks me
Every
up. So
time.
so that's the question is. So what was the movie that you guys watched, Nick, Aaron? Like the family movie, something like maybe it comes on TV and you're like, oh, we got to watch this, and you go and watch it. And so it's something that you've watched with your family 8,000 times. Your family, the family you're growing up with, not your current one where you're the
You're in charge of the remote.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The movie that you got stuck watching with everybody else in your family growing up.
I didn't really
there's
have
easy
one.
ones. Really? You
Yeah.
didn't have something to your dad's that's like, you got to watch this.
Well, I mean, sometimes he'd watch a movie like 20 times, and I'd just be like, okay, I'm going to my room.
I feel like that's probably the case with my kids, or probably Studio Ghibli movies for my kids. For me, growing up, it was like Dirty Dancing, or I don't know. Seems like just generally Patrick Swayze movies.
Gremlins.
Roadhouse. Gremlins we didn't watch over and over, but I think that's the first movie I watched on a VHS. VHS is what the videotapes were called, Nick. Like that used to be how we'd watch movies, is on a.
He's a video major. He knows that. He knows all that stuff.
Wait, was that like before the wheel was made? I don't.
Well, so it used wheels to actually run the tapes.
Oh, okay. So.
What?
We
Yeah, I
had
like
one.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. It was built into the TV.
Nice.
Crazy.
And that means that TV was also not a flat screen, but you were alive whenever there were big, heavy-ass glass TVs.
Yes, they were heavy, and you couldn't get rid of them.
Yeah, I still got a 32-inch. A 32-inch was also a big TV at one point.
Now I have a 32-inch monitor.
Yeah. And it weighs 1/5 as much as my 32-inch TV.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, what was your movie then?
Honestly, I know I mentioned we watched Clash of the Titans a lot. Like, I loved that movie. We watched it a bunch. I'm trying to think, family-wise, what we watched. I don't know. Probably, I mean, we were always really liked Disney movies growing up, like younger.
Yeah.
Remember buying those in the big puffy.
Oh, yeah, and you had to buy it
VHS
during the
tapes.
window before it goes back into the vault.
Out of the vault, that's right. So those are always fun.
Nice. Have we ever talked about how you come from a family of television entertainers, and how you've got a celebrity brother?
No, I mean, he doesn't like me to mention that kind of thing because it makes him feel bad because I live stream and kind of big deal.
Yeah, how many people are watching his show right now?
Yeah, middle of the day, nobody gets up stays up late on Friday to watch NCIS, whatever. Yeah, my brother is an actor and he is on the show NCIS. So.
And he is a named actor on NCIS. He's not just the guy that's always in the background shaking a test tube. He actually
he does that too, but yeah, and he talks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he plays Jimmy Palmer, in case anybody is NCIS fans out there.
Crowd goes wild.
Yep, big deal. Big deal.
Lawrence said that, by the way, Christopher Guest apparently is pretty active in British politics. I mean, he is British, even though he always has American accents when we hear him talk.
Wow, he has like a southern accent half the time you hear him talk.
Well, yeah, especially in Waiting for Guffman. I feel like the chat turned off. Oh no, I'm on top chat. How did I get switched back to top chat?
Top chat? Sounds like a...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Nobody said anything anyway.
I know the audience won't be able to see this, but you guys will like this.
Nice.
There it is.
I've got an original Blockbuster Entertainment Group card.
That's sweet. That is legit.
That is awesome.
You had reason to take advantage of your video cassette recorder. Oh, I guess you probably could watch DVDs with that too. Never mind.
Yeah, how was that back in the day? The old
Be
Blockbuster.
kind, rewind.
Yeah, that was a thing you could actually buy from Sharper Images, a video cassette rewinder that looks like a sports car.
Oh, that's right. Push down on it and click and start rewinding. Because it made your VCR last longer. Wasn't that why you're supposed to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Saving that motor, all those moving parts. Hmm.
Turns out that's not what we needed to worry about. We need to worry about the fact that VHSs just weren't going to be around that long. Which actually, I mean, this okay, quick rant. I still think that VHS is a better platform than DVD. I know you can get higher resolution, better sound, blah blah blah, but how many times have you guys like scratched a DVD? Like
Yeah.
it's not a good solution.
Yeah, I mean, I always watch all my movies on vinyl, just 'cause it has a nice texture to it. But
You are
I get your
hip.
point.
No, I just remember like literally chucking VHS tapes at people, and like you can't really break them. You have to like really break them, run them over with cars. But I also remember having DVDs that were brand new and scratching them, and it never worked again.
I think Tyson was so generous as to give me his scratched up copy of Shadows of Mordor, with the comment that it might work for you, but it doesn't work for me anymore. And I don't know what he thinks why my PlayStation can play discs that his can't, but you know.
Doesn't
So I
sound
just
good.
blew on it, rubbed it on my shirt, popped it in, and worked fine.
Oh, I want it back
Not
then.
real. No. Oh, Betamax. So Betamax was supposedly superior to VHS, right?
I
Like,
had
it
heard
was-
that, yeah.
But it was sort of like the Blu-ray versus
HD
HD
DVD.
DVD. You know. But what are you gonna do?
Platform
They're both gone.
wars.
They're both gone anyway.
And then there's Laserdisc, which just never had a chance.
Yeah, but that was the equivalent of vinyl, right? Like everybody would be getting
Yeah.
their big 32-inch gigantic. Wait, not 32
Yeah.
inch.
They were big. They might have been 24 to 30. I don't know.
They were not 30. They were like the same size as a record.
I don't know how big that is either.
Lawrence said there actually was a vinyl video format called VHD.
That's
Whoa.
crazy.
Wow.
I don't understand how that could work.
I'm trying to figure out what the needle did in that situation.
Like 20 needles.
Yeah.
Like a radio play. Just described to the record player what was going on.
Play person walking.
VHD stood for, it was an analog video disc format. It was really only in Japan.
Japan gets the best things.
For real.
Let's go to Japan.
Oh my goodness. So the way you watch these discs is, so they're about 10 inches in diameter, and you put them in it had basically like a cartridge, sort of like, you remember how you used to have to play CDs? You have to put your CD into the CD cartridge and then insert that, and that's how they say a caddy for the video disc.
Wow.
Man.
That's
Well,
crazy.
And it
glad
didn't
that
catch on, huh?
on.
Shame.
It did not here anyway. So I was talking about the favorite movies, but we didn't get to talk about Tyson's family movie, and it was only Tyson and the young Karchners, the kids. But it's classic. I bet Nick has probably seen this countless times.
Do you know of Zorro the Gay Blade?
I don't.
It was starring, what was his name?
It's
Is
Lauren
it Harrison something?
Hutton. Yeah, it's
Oh man, I can picture him. What's his name?
I know, right?
He was dashing.
George Hamilton.
George Hamilton. His name is dashing. Come on, man. Like, you can tell that's a leading man if ever I've heard one.
Yeah, I had never even heard of the movie until I borrowed the VHS copy of Tyson's Oh wait, no, I think I might
Wait,
have
I
got seen
don't.
a DVD.
Yeah, no, I don't have one.
He loaned me a copy of a DVD so that I could watch Zorro the Gay Blade. And let me tell you, it's about as good as you think it's going to be by the name. Actually, it is slightly better because
It's funny.
yeah,
It's a funny movie.
I feel like it's funnier than any of the stuff that I watched with my family. As far as the stuff I watched like that my parents didn't necessarily watch, and this is going back to like something that should have probably been PG-13 or R. So I watched the heck out of the Blues Brothers when I was like 12. And that is not a movie really for 12-year-olds.
Not so much.
No. How you feeling about that model, Tyson?
Yeah, it's coming along.
You happy with your results so far?
Are you happy with your choice overall?
Nah, I think this is working. I was hoping we'd be able to create kind of a semi-screen accurate version, which this is not going to be that, but it's all right.
So
I'm pretty happy with this.
Why did you create the separate, like the component off to the side and this one at the same time? Why didn't you just put that picture in place, or why don't you just do all your drawing in place?
If I set this picture on top of this surface, there'd be a little bit of Z fighting aspect. So it was just easier to do it off to the side.
So if you weren't modeling on that plane, or if you weren't trying to have it exist on that plane, then you would just model in place?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I like to do this a lot on the inside of here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like you do this a lot with models. Feels like a lot of times you do this where you're modeling over here, but this is like your the little junk area, and the actual end product is going to be somewhere else.
Yeah, that's just.
You like to model. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's another one model recently where you did basically the same thing. Had that throwaway copy of the component off on the side that you worked in, and then had the in place.
I think he was doing some of that.
Oh, it was the bridge. The bridge.
Yeah, the Sydney Bridge.
Yeah. That's a cool way to work.
It's yeah.
It is
different folks, different strokes.
So was this all your idea, or did you see someone else doing this one time and you're like, that's a good idea, I'm gonna do that?
Oh, you mean this technique or what?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Who can remember where you learned something?
That means you ripped it off if someone doesn't want to admit it.
Okay, cool.
I ripped it off of Aaron.
No, I would take credit for this if I did it, but I rarely do this. I usually end up spending way too much time fighting with the view that I can't get because if something's in my way. So it's good. It is a good idea.
I do have to say that while you're mucking around with that box right there, there is it's sort of it feels a little video cardish.
Ooh.
You said the VC word.
Them strong words, buddy.
Sorry. There's no hate behind them. I just was told earlier that I have to make sure that I call it out when it happens.
Oh.
Do we need a VC jar now?
Yeah.
We might. Our Voldemort series, different videos that we never mention by name, lest we summon them.
I guess given the time, I think what we can do is probably start to wrap this up and see if we can create a little sun study that gives us our location to go digging.
Oh,
yes.
So that's part of your desire to make this so accurate, is to see if you can actually
Find the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, virtually unlock the Ark. All right.
Nice.
I want to. All right. I think one of the things we can do just a little bit is scatter a few of these windows around. That will go good ways of giving a perception of some detail. You have to care where. Some of this stuff we won't even see, but that's all right.
I gotta play the cricket sound effect.
Yeah. I'm wanting to offer up the chitter chatter that's happening in the chat, but it's not a lot happening.
It's a little bit of a slow day in the chat this day. Oh, sometimes words work, sometimes words don't work.
So Raymond did just ask, because he missed at the beginning, how you ended up creating this you model in one place and it appears in the other, like what you did to set up this workspace.
What did you do?
So, are you familiar with the idea of components? Is the question. And,
I am.
And then the question of nested components. So what I did, I actually started modeling just this one piece. You can see that this is nested inside and that inside here. So we just have a number of nesting, and so I started just by, let's say, we take this over here, ungroup it, and we obliterate a bunch of stuff. I'll just start doing something like this where I've got my two groups or components, and we'll make that a, let's say, entire map. Copy it over here, and then I just build within that map. But as I do, I'm still making these either groups or components. And then that's okay.
So really if you're identifying a place or time to do this, it really comes down to not wanting to throw reference images into your actual model. You mentioned that as being kind of the reasoning for doing it this way.
It did, which I think most people will understand that if I had brought my image over into the model, you see it's hard to see. It doesn't even show up on this, but if I put it directly aligned with that surface, I can't even see it. And maybe there's some tricks we could do to get around that, but I also just didn't want to fight on the inside of this space. I had it over here. I can lock it and just work in that reference. It's makes things nice and easy.
Makes sense to me.
Yes, and that answers then JP's question of what the benefits are of doing that. So you can work somewhere else.
Yeah, like Aaron mentioned, it's this type of thing where you're in here, you're editing this, you orbit. Dang it! Now I'm in the wall, and you'll just do that frequently, especially on an interior space. I want to go down. Nope. I go up, but too far is the ceiling. Now, obviously, we could see I'm stuck. We could take this entire space. We could lock it. We could hide it. But my preference, this is just me, I like this method because I want to see what the final result is, and then just quickly go back and start tweaking here. So again, it's kind of a personal preference. It's not required, but I like it.
Makes sense.
So I'm thinking, like, as I look at that, because it kind of looks like a concert hall, I bet he had like really good acoustics in there.
Oh, you got
Like,
me right.
I wonder how much time he spent just sort of like singing songs, obviously period
Ma-
correct songs, because this is from the 40s.
Making fart noises.
Exactly. Or just walking around going echo, echo, echo.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's timeless. I think that as soon as the word echo was created, somebody was immediately doing that.
Wasn't that ancient Greek?
I think so. I think echo is an actual Greek word for what or something like that.
Again,
God.
again. I think it's a god. I think Echo was a goddess.
So there you go. I mean, I'm not going to check you on that. I'm just gonna say, Darren, he knows his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what the internet say. Actually, no, forget the internet. What does anybody else out there remember about that? That's really what matters.
So DCube asked this earlier, like whenever you select the top of one of your pyramids, but he's kind of asking me, and he said, how did you pull the top of the pyramid? Vertex selection, vertex select new function, or got something going on there? You doing magic?
I'm doing some magic. Let me show you. So when you have the move tool active and something selected, let me just put, select this over here. With the move tool, and I wanted to say move this corner, well, I'm not. I'm going to move whatever, I'm going to affect whatever's selected. But if nothing is selected, then it will act as an auto select, so it can auto select this edge or this vertex or this surface. So I can pull that edge in, pull this one in. Now I could select that edge and move it, but you cannot select a vertex in SketchUp. There's vertex tools, that's a plugin, but native tools, you can't do that. So the way you do this with the native tools, any sort of rectangle, and just draw an X, and then use the move tool, make sure nothing's selected, and then hover over that point and pull it up in the blue direction. So that's how those were made.
All right.
More specifically, in those cases, I pulled it up first, grabbed the top, used the scale tool from the center, scaled it in, then nothing selected, pull that point up. Instant Washington Monument.
Boom. Or just a really skinny, long pyramid.
Mm-hmm. Do they call those something different? Like, what is this in Egyptian?
Obelisk.
Obelisk?
House. Oh, yeah, obelisk sounds righter than house.
Something like that. I don't know. I made that up, but it sounds like it could be a thing.
I'm not going to challenge you.
Yeah.
We're making stuff up at this point, so I'm going to create. I'm going to say there were a couple extra ancient obelisks back here, and we're just going to scatter some of these buildings.
An obelisk is a tall, four-sided, narrow, tapering monument which ends in a pyramid-like shape.
Boom!
Look at that.
Thank you very much. Good night. Leave on a high note.
Leave on a high note.
All right, let's see what we got here. We need to punch a hole in here to create our. So let's see. We got Indy here.
Ooh.
He's
I
supposed
feel like
to
this
stand.
is going to be tricky.
It is. I mean, we're gonna have to move our stuff around a little bit, but that's okay. We kind of knew that, right? Because if we want our sun's gonna shine right here, and it's got to intersect this point. So we're just gonna continue that on somewhere up there. Phew. Hey, actually should work out.
Boom.
That'll work for
So,
us.
I mean, the nice thing is that now you can make sure the hole works where it's supposed to, rather than hope that you stood Indy in the right spot.
Yeah. It's so cool. Just a side note. Finding this photo and trying to study it is when I realized that this is the area where the light's going to shine, and they've got it hollowed out, which I assume is part of like the effect they created, where once it hits that spot and it just sort of explodes in all this light. Like, oh, yeah, of course they built out this thing underneath that starts spinning. So that's pretty cool. So this is up here. We're gonna just punch a hole in there. Say, and it's got a little. Sort of extension at the
A little.
base.
Nice.
Wow.
Now, so help me remember, in the movie, once he perfectly lines up the sun, what exactly happened? Did it open up like a vault or something?
No, it just shows them on the map where they should be
Oh.
digging.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so when the sun hits it just the right spot, yeah, it's sort of he's standing there. They make it dramatic, and then you can see the sun moving at basically 2 hours pass by in 30 seconds. But it's this awesome
Movie magic.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
the sun is
Suspension of
brightly
disbelief.
working its way down. And yeah, like it starts with this cool effect. It hits the middle of this little building that's in the center of this complex and starts shining.
So how much, you said you only really watched this scene. Did you basically just watch the part where he drops down in there and then
Yep.
like did you watch only the stuff that pertains to this room?
That's all.
That's something.
It was fun.
Did your kids watch it with you? Did you cover their eyes at the end?
You know what's funny at this point? I wonder if, depending on your kids, I'm thinking of my girl Lily. She would not like that ending. She would not want to watch that, but she would also just hate the scene of snakes. She would just
Yeah.
be so, and would not sit well.
Yeah, that's
Personally,
an
what I'm wondering is based on how many times Jody said it. Jody, have you seen the ending, or have you always covered your eyes?
What, there's an ending? No, I already made my comment that it's that room is just full of melted wax.
That's true.
Because that's, in hindsight, it's really not that it's not that frightening.
There's this there's a sculptor I follow on Instagram named Steven Richter, and he does a lot of modeling of like characters from modern movies and stuff. But one of my favorite things he did was he modeled the guy with the round glasses, that Nazi guy.
Oh,
He
yeah.
modeled him, and out of tinted monster clay so he could melt it and recreate that scene. It was pretty awesome. So he has
I
a
think that's
impressive.
time lapse of him microwave or hitting it with the heat gun, and the whole thing just falls apart. Pretty cool.
But it was he used a clay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So he
I mean,
colored monster clay, which is a pretty common modeling substance, but he monster clay is cool because when it gets hot, it turns into a liquid at a pretty low point, but
Yeah.
it also turns solid at a very reasonable temperature. So he colored it all in with melted crayons mixed into the clay, and then sculpted the whole thing, and then just melted it afterwards. Pretty cool.
So is that what they used in the original movie? Do you think? Based
Oh,
on
I don't know, some kind of clay, yeah, or wax or something.
Yeah, layers of wax.
Yeah, no, it always looked like a wax candle, like just the way that it melted.
Yeah, and you could tell it's like Tyson said, there's layers too, because you see different colors
Right.
of red.
The
and
flesh
white.
turns way to red.
Yeah.
So Nick, at the end of the movie, somebody dies very gruesomely. Maybe you can figure it out based on this description. I don't know.
As gruesome as melted clay can be. Yeah. All right, you ready? You ready to hit this thing with some sunlight?
Okay, I think we've got. Let's put it over here.
So DQ wanted to thank you. He said he just tried out your vertex picker technique. It worked. Had an aha moment.
Nice.
I love aha moments. Those are my favorite moments. Not aha the band singing "Take on Me."
Well,
That's
that's
also
in
a
my
favorite
top 5
moment.
moments. I like
Well, yeah.
Wow.
But it's just not. It's a good moment, but it's not my favorite moment.
Fair.
All right.
Now, guess what song stuck in my head? That's the one.
So, again, this is before your time, Nick, but there was a time when to listen to music, I basically had to own the MP3. And so I had 30 gigabytes of different songs I had collected. But you know what was always, every time, what was at the top of my list of music? Well, it was sorted alphabetically. And therefore, every time I'd start up iTunes to listen to music, aha, Take on Me. I have that. If there were statistics, it would show that song had been started but not completed 4,000 times over the course of 1 year. Yeah, I heard that.
Ooh.
It's
Ooh,
looking,
Get rid of the ground plane.
Oh, thank you. I was trying to.
I
Trying to get
thought
rid
the
of that
water was
surface.
rising.
Thank you. Why
There we
do
go.
I have a surface
Oh, look at it.
there? Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's sweet.
That
It's
turned
like
out
this whole stream has been about like a setup for a joke, and bam, there's the punchline. Is the time set to the time it was supposed to be in the movie?
I don't think they
have
said.
no idea.
Maybe they did.
I always like
When-
movies where like something has to happen at a very specific minute, like down to like this, or in the end of or the
When
scene
when the thrush knocks
Yeah.
into the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good grief.
Oh, come
The
on.
one
I didn't remember.
day, specific hour of the year that this is possible.
I was gonna go with Golden Child. The sun was covering the cast on the show. Didn't nobody. Golden Child. Eddie Murphy.
I remember that very well. I just don't remember the time thing.
Well, there was this thing where there was a sun, like someone had died and they were covered in a shroud, and as soon as the sun was gone, and then the Golden Child comes in and touches their toe and brings them back to life.
Oh, that's right. She holds her right up to the last beam of sun.
Yeah,
Golden Child had a flair for the dramatic.
it did, and also a great scene with the dancing aluminum can.
Ooh, look at
All right.
that.
That's impressive.
The time
Nice.
is going to be 4:38.
That is assuming that the map room is in Boulder, Colorado, correct?
That's
Oh, see, if this were actually in Egypt, then it would be spot on for 12:02 or something. I don't know.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
don't know,
look at
just-
that shadow falling right on there. Ooh, baby.
There it is.
Like it.
I like it a lot.
Boy, that's some precision building, by the way. Whoever's making that model right there.
Right? All this stuff.
That's cool. That turned out pretty cool. I like it.
All right, there we go. There we go. It worked.
Yeah.
All right.
Cue
did we-
us.
Yeah.
Cue the round of applause. You probably can't even hear.
Come on. I heard, yeah, probably not in the rest of the world. Matt probably queuing it up somewhere though.
Thanks, Matt.
I am
Cool.
curious about how this bachelor party that's like an all-day affair. That is not
Oh,
how
it's-
bachelor parties were whenever
it's
I was a
4 days. He left on Thursdays, coming back Tuesday.
Jeez.
That's why Matt's not here, guys. Don't forget about that. He's getting hitched, and he's out for the bachelor party today.
Oh, Raymond pointed out in the movie, actually, it wasn't Indy holding it; it was stuck in the floor, which is true.
Correct.
Which is why 4:39 is happening at 4:39 here.
Both are true. Like, he's got to stick it in the floor, but he's holding it, like... but yeah, very true. So, in our version, I think he's standing a little farther back, but in our version, it's right there.
And it looks perfect. That's all that really matters.
Yep. Nice. Very cool.
Very cool. Very fun. Let's call it.
Well, hey, just throw this out there as we start to wrap up. Throw your ideas for next week's live model in the comments.
Hey, are we doing one next Wednesday or just next Friday again?
Next Friday, because next Wednesday is Fireside Chat.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Fireside chats for the foreseeable future.
Right. 7 more weeks of Fireside Chat on Wednesday, live model on Friday.
All right. Do you want to tell us who's going to be at the fireside next week's fireside chat?
Yeah, absolutely. So next week we're going to talk woodworking with Jeff Branch. Amazing woodworker, does all of his design work using SketchUp. Worth checking out if you do any kind of, not just woodwork, but any design, or if you have any interest in putting materials or textures on stuff, because he has some cool looking, very real looking wood materials in his work. So come check it out, noon on Wednesday. It's on Crowdcast. You can go to Crowdcast, spelled Crowdcast, and look for SketchUp there, or you can go to 3dbasecamp.sketchup.com, and we have links to everything there too. So D-Cube saying Notre Dame, we did that once. Actually, I did that twice in a stream.
Ooh, in one show. That was amazing, I bet.
That was, yeah, I like to double it up there. Yeah. Not gonna say it's a bad idea, but we've been there. Yeah, so come check that out, and then like I said, we'll come back on next Friday and we'll model something fresh, something new. A mining truck.
Oh, that's
Oh, like
interesting.
one of those ones with like 12-inch tires? Big guys?
No.
Well-
12-foot tires. 12-inch
That,
tires would be tiny.
that.
It would be adorable.
You sound like me talking about metric units, Tyson. It was huge. Several millimeters wide.
Well, we established that we like to model models. Toy of the Orca and stuff. Dioramas.
Oh, Peggy wants to know when you're going to be tackling the Sydney Opera House. He recalls that. Is that 2 weeks? 2 weeks from today?
Who committed to that?
Somebody should be committed to that.
We're looking into it.
Oh.
I think what you should do is volunteer to do, if we're going to do Australian landmarks, you should do Ayers Rock. That would be probably pretty easy.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's just a big red clay mound. It's
Do you remember, Jody? The first live model I did was that Japanese temple, and I spent some time modeling the terrain, the rock, and I think everybody sort of like the whole thing.
They're like, I think I'm going to go home now.
We're going to model the rock. We're going to model
that's what
this
they
little
want.
mountain.
It's what the people want.
Then it can't be wrong.
DQ points out that a crypto mining truck would be a graphics card. You
Boom.
can do a graphics card.
Wait, let me sigh a little harder.
That didn't sound like a sigh. That just sounded
Sorry.
Weird. What? They renamed Ayers Rock? Well, now that's interesting.
Uluru.
Wasn't she like
Star Trek,
communications
right?
officer? Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive sandstone monolith, and yeah, that's been renamed. It's curious.
How about that?
Okay, well, if you guys have any great ideas come up in the next week or so, hit us up on the forum, forums.sketchup.com. Give us your ideas. Otherwise, I'd say this is the perfect time to wrap. I know where Tyson's at. Tyson's at the point where he's either got to step away or keep going. And being as we're 2 hours 12, it is the step away time. So, yeah, great job. Looking good.
Sweet.
We're not perfect.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thanks,
See
Tyson.
y'all next week.
See you guys.
All right. Ciao.